So basically it worked out that way, whereas white just gave these up to delimit it and then came up here to enhance his territory. So from here, it looks like white's already won. Yeah. Yeah. Then, who else is in this group? This is in this group. I'm not on top of the names just yet. There's no reason to hold off the corner here. It's a feature of this Joseki that because of white's low position, it's not that easy for white to get a substantial territory in this region. You play this in order to control the size of the side, but the size of the side is pre-controlled. There's no reason not to go all the way to the corner. Let's get the view down. This one. There's nothing that from either A or B that black is particularly afraid of. In fact, white is not intending to particularly play a pincer variation. I suppose here, white could, think in terms of this development. But certainly that's not a problem for black. This is not particularly a territorial threat that black is concerned about. If black plays here, I would presume that we're more likely to get something like this. Where white will push black down the side, since it has no effect on white in this corner. You have to think a step ahead, right? This has approximately the same threat against white. Because white can't make a stabilizing extension in this direction, white is concerned about being invaded behind. So you have an expectation that you're going to get much the same result. But now because you held back one line, you have a nice follow-up move here. If you look at it with these three moves, black has actual substantive value. Whereas you look at the three moves black has played in the game, and he does not. White can come in and take the corner away at any time. Or white can play a C move, or any way of kind of controlling his territory here. So to get this one extra line, black has put himself in a position where he's got no follow-up. If he holds back one line, he's got a great follow-up.
What did you say there? A C move?
Say what?
Seam.
Seam?
Oh, seam. Okay.
Yes.
So instead of the one space jump up, what about the same move as if black had played the large knight's move? So just protect the corner.
Diagonal in the corner.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Here?
Yeah.
Well, it's not territory. With the large knight's move, actually, you can defend that. But from here, that's not territory. Good. You see there's a little problem from white in through here. This move ends up, in the first place, to play this before there's a pressure point move over here is kind of out of order. You're running before you're threatened. If white's going to invest a move in this area and just play for security, I just play here. You know, if black wants to do this, I'm now feeling secure, then I'll move and invade over here. Something like this, perhaps. Having Or the alternate idea is, at this point in time, this is gonna go the same way no matter what or no matter when. This is gonna go like this. So, having played this way, you're certainly never gonna play here. This move is pointless. You're gonna go directly to the invasion over here. So that from White's perspective, the jump into the center was not an effective move. It didn't actually gain him anything. It didn't particularly get him more security, and it didn't particularly create any pressure against Black. If he goes directly for the 3-3, he's going to get the same result, he's going to get the same security, and now he doesn't spend that move, he goes directly to an invasion.
Quick question. In the corner variation in the top right, there's
This
a
one here?
point where,
Uh-huh.
yeah, right there, instead of White cutting, there's some variation where White hanes in the other direction and then cuts on that side.
Uh-huh.
Is that good for White in this case?
I don't think it's working with this stone here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's probably not working with this stone here, as far as that goes. Right, so let's see here, we'll get back to the game diagram. Right. Now, again, I don't see any reason why White has to be so, completely afraid of this area. Even though Black has one additional stone there, he's not going to be able to take this as his territory. As far as that goes, you can't kill this stone either. Not that this is necessarily the best way to come in. And so White is kind of getting a little too nervous here. It's not necessary to give Black so much territory. It's not so easy to live in here, having let Black get the extra stone in there. I think Black should be resisting a little bit harder. Actually, in this instance, this kind of hurts White's shape and makes it more difficult for him to get a good outcome. I suppose that he can't be killed if he goes this way. But just letting White live in the corner isn't so terrible. With this stone here, you're not concerned about this cutting point. You're going to fight with regard to this cutting point with this stone here and this stone here, and the cut here is not getting out anytime soon. So Black can make it a little bit harder on White. Surely White wants to crawl here, since the game has taken this course. No matter what, that's going to result to a profit for White. And then here, I mean, again, Hane is going to be better. What's White afraid of? Looks like choice to me. White has come in here, and while I think his coming in is a little bit reckless, once Black does not come after him, he really backs away when he can live much more easily. I mean, he's gotten sealed in here in a very small way. Given how tentative Black was, White could have done much better than this. Okay, let's look at the board. What's big? What's big? So there's this, there's this, there's this corner, this over here. The game is kind of narrowed out. There's not anything here that's really big. Maybe this is as good as anything. You can push the stone around, but the question is, where is your profit coming from? See, there's no, this move nominally says I'm making profits up here, but there's no profit area up here established. So black can afford to just let white alone. Just keep playing a territory game and see what white does. Somewhere along the line, white is going to be obligated to invest in this stone, and none of those moves will have any real value for him. Whoa. So at the end of the day, if you look at what actually happened here, the one value move black got was this one, which you just could have put down immediately. And none of these, this move and this move, aren't really having any value. At this point in time, white is then coming back and counterpunching. And then having played these stones, black is not investing in them. At the very least, you would expect black to just keep building them. I mean, he put them down. They must have some importance to him. And black and white developed together in this area. But black sort of put these stones down, he played through to here, and then he stops and moves away and gives them up. Whoa. Well, I suppose since black is kind of indicating he's not intending to move those stones out, something like this might work. I'm not quite sure why white has let black get into his territory there. I'm not sure what white is concerned about here. So we're just yo-saying out from here. What was the difference in the game?
It was to like 9 points. I mean, there was a mistake at the end, but if there wasn't a mistake, it was like a 9-point game.
And the winner was Mr.
Black. Black was ahead.
Black was ahead. Uh-huh. I think in through here, rather, if white defends his territory, I think he's in better shape here. Actually, black breaking into this was quite substantial. Even I suppose from here, it's a little bit superior for black to force on this side first, and then to force here. But breaking in there, he got a substantial reduction of white's territory, got further pressure against the corner. And this didn't particularly add that much to what white was getting in any event. Also, white backed off here a little bit. I mean, the more natural way to continue is to look to this. Since black is not contesting here, you're not particularly afraid of him cutting and trying to fight. So white backed off a bit. Once black abandons these stones, it looked like the game was likely to be promising for white, or maybe he backed away there, and then not playing to defend his upper side, he gave the game back. And then this is an outright loss. Probably what it winds back to is right in, there's a couple things from White's perspective. This move has ended up very close to a pass. That's an extremely costly problem for White. Then White's handling of this area was very tentative, having passed. And then when Black doesn't press him, White just completely caves in instead of expanding himself. In this area, White has lost a huge number of points. I mean, even just in the corner alone, if you again look at, you know, what does Black do here? Does he extend?
Can Black hunting?
Oh, sure he can.